Welcome to The Unbelievable Truth, the panel show about incredible truth and barely credible lies. I'm David Mitchell. What a treat we've got tonight. 4 of my favourite people ever are the founders of the SDP in 1981. Special shout out to Roy Jenkins. Still, that's neither here nor there. So please welcome tonight's panellists Lucy Porter, Holly Walsh, Miles Jupp and Henning Vane. The rules are as follows. Each panellist will present a short lecture that should be entirely false, save for 5 hidden truths which their opponent should try to identify. Points are scored by truths that go unnoticed, while other panellists can win points if they spot a truth, or lose points if they mistake a lie for a truth. First up is Holly Walsh. Holly, your subject is drugs. Chemical substances that have a physiological or psychological effect when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body. Off you go, Holly. Fingers on buzzers, the rest of you.
I am a lifelong square who has never taken drugs, but as...
Lucy.
I think you are a lifelong square, and I mean that in the nicest possible way.
Puts you in an interesting position.
I've done some wild things. I've run through a couple of hay fields.
And hay is a euphemism for...
Wheat.
Oh. Does she get a point?
No.
No. She has taken a lot of drugs, okay?
That's
Just so you know.
That's basically a cry for help, Holly.
As a lifelong square who's never taken drugs, I'm going to take a load of drugs now so I can speak from experience. Oh, that's got a kick to it. Right, yes, okay, facts. Who likes facts? I love facts. Okay. Without drugs, early Brits wouldn't have invented shops. When people got bored of foraging for magic mushrooms in their natural habitat of hard-to-reach areas like the top of the White Cliffs of Dover, the grounds of Buckingham Palace, or that little grassy bit in Leicester Square, a smart druid opened his... Oh, I'm so high. I can't even finish this. Okay.
Miles.
I think the top of the White Cliffs of Dover is quite good for mushrooms.
No. Apparently not.
Oh, God, I'm thinking of casual sex. Sorry. Carry on, Holly. Completely my mistake. Do continue.
Lucy.
Well, while we're here, I reckon there's mushrooms in the garden of Buckingham Palace.
You're absolutely right.
Yes.
During the filming of ITV's 2014 miniseries The Queen's Garden, Alan Titchmarsh discovered the psychedelic magic mushrooms known as Amanita muscaria while touring the 40-acre grounds of Buckingham Palace. The mushrooms are thought to have grown naturally rather than having been planted there. Holly.
Anyone want to share this needle? No, suit yourself. Buying things in person soon became too much hassle, so the internet was invented to sell drugs faster, hence eBay. Cannabis was the first ever thing sold online, whereas cocaine was the first thing ever sold in a line. Okay, I'm really coming up now. Okay, hang on. I've never done drugs.
Well, you owe Lucy a point if that's true.
Dang. Queen Victoria bonded with a young Winston Churchill with a spot of cocaine, kicking off Churchill's long-lasting love of his own voice. And Simon and Garfunkel met at Narcotics Anonymous. But because they were anonymous, neither of them realised until 5 years later. I feel amazing. I could fight you all. Speaking of which... Famous drug smugglers include US Presidents Richard Nixon, George H.W. Bush and Herbert Hoover, who had business cards saying Hoover by name, Hoover by nature. If you don't know a US president, you can buy official Unbelievable Truth cocaine from the BBC shop. But if you want to sound as cool as me while doing it, use one of the many street names for cocaine like Bolivian bicarb, Shouty powder, Mary Berry self-raising sugar, the old nostril number, and, of course, lady. And with that, I can now say the official line of the BBC is that drugs are great and you should all take them. I'm starting to come down now. Has anyone got any ice cream?
Thank you, Holly. So, Holly, at the end of that round, you've managed to smuggle 4 truths past the rest of the panel. Which are that the first item sold online was a bag of marijuana. In 1971, students at Stanford University completed what is considered to be the world's first online commercial transaction by purchasing a bag of marijuana from students at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology via ARPANET, the precursor to today's internet. The second truth is that Queen Victoria took cocaine with Winston Churchill. Yes, Queen Victoria was a huge fan of drugs, her two favourites being opium and cocaine. The former she consumed every morning in the form of laudanum. The cocaine she consumed in the form of a chewing gum sweet, and she liked it so much that it's reported that she even shared some with Winston Churchill and his family during a visit to Balmoral. The third truth is that in 1958, Richard Nixon, then Vice President, unknowingly smuggled 3 pounds of marijuana through US Customs on behalf of jazz musician Louis Armstrong. According to his biographer, Roger Stone, Nixon ran into Armstrong, who the US State Department has previously made a goodwill ambassador for the United States, while Armstrong was in the customs queue at New York's Idlewild Airport, where Nixon insisted the legendary jazz musician skip the queue, declaring, "Ambassadors don't have to go through customs, and the Vice President of the United States will gladly carry your bags for you." In doing so, Nixon inadvertently smuggled 3 pounds of marijuana through United States Customs. Anyway, it wasn't the worst thing Nixon did. The fourth truth is that, according to the US Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, lady is a common street name for cocaine. And that means, Holly, you've scored 4 points. Cocaine and crack cocaine rejoice in the names Pearl, Toot, Moon Rock, Cocoa Puffs and Bazooka, as do Jamie Oliver's children. OK. We turn now to Henning Wehn. Henning is from Germany, but he's been here over 20 years now, so I think we're stuck with him. Henning, your subject is hats or headwear, shaped coverings for the head worn for warmth, status, as fashion items, or as part of a uniform. Off you go, Henning.
Hats were invented by Jesus, who was a famous carpenter. The Jesus patent wooden hat could be flipped over to use as an emergency fishing boat for his friends on Lake Galilee, which is where we get the word boater. Other chivalrous hats worn by semi-religious figures include the uncanonized Peruvian saint Paddington Bear, who always wears a hat when swimming.
Lucy.
I think Paddington does always wear a hat when he's swimming.
He does always wear a hat when he's swimming.
Of course he does.
It says here the character of Paddington Bear was largely inspired by writer Michael Bond's father. Bond described his father as, quote, a very polite man who always wore a hat. Even on holiday on the Isle of Wight, he would wade into the sea, keeping his hat on in case he encountered someone he knew and needed something to raise in greeting.
Now we're coming to something really interesting. Turkey was once plagued by an epidemic of Tommy Cooper impressions. And when Turkish authorities banned the fez, it led to the fez riots and underground fez smuggling.
Holly.
I mean, there's got to be something in that. You never see anyone wearing fezzes anymore. They must have been banned somewhere.
You're absolutely right.
Hey.
Yes. The hat law, which was introduced in Turkey in 1925, prohibited the wearing of traditional headgear such as the fez and the turban, requiring instead the use of Western-style hats in public spaces. The ban sparked widespread riots and protests across the country, as well as a thriving fez smuggling trade.
All civil unrest originates with hats and headgear. There were the Devon Beanie Beano of the Devon...
Miles.
I don't know what he's saying, but it's definitely true.
Would you like to finish what you're saying?
Now, I was talking about the Devon Beanie Beano of 1956, which reduced Newton Abbot to rubble, in which state it largely remains today.
I'm afraid that's not true. Yeah.
And who could forget, I asked, the 1922 straw hat riots in New York, in which anyone wearing a straw hat was at risk of being assaulted and having their heads destroyed. Talking of straw, men have always drawn the short straw when it comes to headgear. All the best men's headgear has been stolen by women, including scrunchies, rollers, Tiaras, MAGA heads, and dealy boppers.
Lucy.
I feel like something in that list must be true. Like rollers, men used rollers before women did.
No.
Oh.
No, it was a woman's hat largely worn in the 1930s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In China, we haven't mentioned them yet, in China men had to wear a green headscarf if their wives or female relatives had been putting it about. Today, unwrapping a lovely green beanie from your wife in China means Merry Christmas, darling, I'm the village bike.
Miles.
Well, they do have a lot of bikes in China, don't they? There's that pop song about it. Is that related in some way?
Well, maybe there is a green hat that symbolises...
Oh, yeah. Let's say a buzz for that. Yeah.
What, the green... Well, you're right.
Thank you.
Yes. What is true is that in ancient China, hats were reserved for the upper class, commoners were obliged to wear headscarves, and men who had relatives who worked as prostitutes were obliged to wear green headscarves. Thus, it became common to insult men whose wives were unfaithful by describing them as, quote, wearing a green headscarf. Even today in modern China, wearing a green hat implies that a man's wife has been unfaithful.
Today, hats are at a crossroads.
I so hope that they ask you to do the wreath lectures this year.
The true use of a hat since 1800 has been to tantalise the public, while the wearer's hands are free to get up to no good. As can be seen with the Artful Dodger, Mr. Tickle, or any member of the clergy.
Thank you, Henning. And at the end of that round, Henning, you've managed to smuggle 2 truths past the rest of the panel, which are that there were straw hat riots in New York in 1922. In the early 20th century, men in New York traditionally wore straw hats during the summer months, from the 15th of May till the 15th of September, and felt hats in the colder months. Thus, September the 15th became known as Felt Hat Day, and failing to wear a felt hat on the day meant running the risk of having your straw hat knocked off and trampled by a prankster. However, what started as high jinks soon escalated when groups of youths attempted to seize hats off dock workers and other labourers, and these men resisted, sparking mass brawls throughout the city. And the second truth is that tiaras were originally worn by men, specifically Persian kings. And that means, Henning, you've scored 2 points. Next up is Lucy Porter. Lucy, your subject is the BBC, or British Broadcasting Corporation. Off you go, Lucy.
The BBC was invented in 1921 by the Daily Mail in order to give the paper's readers something to get angry about. The first television actors were paid less than radio actors because television only showed the actors in miniature, whereas on radio their voices were the same size as in real life.
I reckon TV actors were paid less than radio actors at the beginning.
You're absolutely right, yes. And one of the reasons given was that the actors were only shown in miniature.
Really?
Yes.
In the 1940s, the BBC explicitly forbade comedians from making jokes about washerwomen, birthday cake, trombone salesmen, railway carriages, or the Boer War. Most of the BBC's most popular and enduring fictional characters were based on real people. Labour politician Roy Hattersley provided the model for leading Womble Uncle Bulgaria, while the villainous Davros from Doctor Who was based on the philosopher Bertrand Russell, and Mussolini was reputedly the inspiration for Mr. Blobby.
Miles.
I think the Womble one.
Uncle Bulgaria was not based on Roy Hattersley, I'm afraid to say. Oh, Holly.
What's the Doctor Who one?
That is the right one, yes. Yeah. Actor Michael Wisher, who's cast in the role of Davros, has said he based his performance on the philosopher Bertrand Russell. Terry Nation, creator of the Dalek concept, deliberately modelled elements of the Daleks' character on Nazi ideology and conceived of their creator as a scientist with strong fascist tendencies.
I bet you're probably into Doctor Who, aren't you?
I was as a child.
Have you ever been asked to be in it?
I did a voice of a robot.
Because you sound like a Nazi.
No, it wasn't. I didn't do the voice of a Dalek. I was the voice of a centrist robot. But an interesting fact Bertrand Russell was also the inspiration for Professor Yaffle in Bagpuss.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
Professor Yaffle and Davros, you can sort of see two sides to the man. They must have said his family, what sort of a day is he having? Yaffle or Davros? He won't come downstairs, must be Davros. He can't come downstairs. Whereas Yaffle was great on stairs. Hop down them, no problem.
The mascots for BBC Two when it was launched on the 20th of April 1964 were two kangaroos called Hullabaloo and Custard.
Miles.
Already I'm just collapsing with self-doubt. But Hullabaloo and Custard?
You're absolutely right.
Oh.
Yes. Hullabaloo and Custard were the two mascot kangaroos used to launch BBC Two. Hullabaloo, the mother, represented BBC One, while Custard, the baby in her pouch, represented BBC Two. A live kangaroo was even brought to Television Centre for the opening night. However, disaster struck when a fire at Battersea Power Station caused a power cut across West London, resulting in the cancellation of the entire planned gala celebration. BBC presenter Gerald Priestland recalled, producers cursed, public relations men wept, Fleet Street cheered and jeered, and the kangaroo, stuck in a lift due to the power cut, went berserk. So there you go. I mean, chaos. They had to send in Attenborough to calm him down.
Like everyone else, I do sometimes wonder, why can't we get back to the good old days of the BBC, when all the announcers had to wear hats while they were presenting the news, when Scottish presenters were banned because they were deemed unintelligible to right-thinking people, and when Woman's Hour was presented by a man.
Thank you, Lucy. Oh, Miles?
Was Woman's Hour originally presented by a man?
You're absolutely right. It was, yeah. The first edition of Woman's Hour was presented by a man, Alan Ivemy, who, according to the Radio Times, was a specialist, quote, in writing for and talking to women. So you can see why he got the job. Features in Ivemy's Woman's Hour included cooking with whale meat, I married a lion tamer, and how to hang your husband's suit. However, these broadcasts were criticised for being patronising, and a female presenter, Mary Hill, replaced Ivemy 3 months after the show's launch. And there was further controversy during Mary Hill's tenure when, in an item about women's health, the word vagina was used. Such was the uproar that for decades afterwards, the term birth canal was used instead. And that means, Lucy, that you have managed to smuggle one truth past the rest of the panel, which was, in the 1940s, comedians were forbidden from making jokes about the Boer War, saying it should be referred to as the South African War. And that means, Lucy, you've scored 1 point. It's now the turn of Miles Jupp. Your subject, Miles, is Germany, a Central European country... Perhaps best known for its cars, classical composers, philosophers, beer culture, highly efficient infrastructure, and its former genocidal and megalomaniacal regime. Off you go, Miles.
That set the tone nicely, David.
It was the German writer Goethe who remarked, in German we have no word for sorry, for which we must apologise, but we can't. Things the Germans have invented include germs, nudity, they have over 30 words for it, the mullet hairstyle, the world domination board game Risk, and the contraceptive pill, which they refer to as the pill and baby stop.
Henning.
Lots of board games come from Germany. Is Risk one of them?
It isn't, I'm afraid.
No.
It was invented by a Frenchman, Albert Lamorisse, in 1957.
Well, that's ironic, isn't it?
Germans have always had the most forward-looking creative minds. Johannes Gutenberg applied to join his local library 5 years before inventing the printing press. And the 18th century German writer Friedrich Schiller was sent no fewer than 2 reminders to pay his TV licence. Comedy was unheard of in Germany until... until the end of the Second World War, when, under the terms of the Potsdam Agreement, Clement Attlee's government sent over some of our finest British comedians in an attempt to cultivate a German sense of humour. Munich, Frankfurt and Cologne welcomed Max Miller, Arthur Askey and George Formby, respectively, while Nazi prisoners in Berlin's Spandau prison had to put up with Bernard Manning.
Holly.
That sounds soft power enough that they might have done that. Sent out comedians to Germany.
And which comedians do you think they sent out?
George Formby.
I'm afraid that's
No,
not
I
right.
know for a fact Manning was in Berlin, wasn't he?
Are you going to venture about?
Yes, yeah.
You're
But it's
absolutely
cheating.
right.
Yeah.
In his late teens, the comedian Bernard Manning worked as an armed guard watching over senior Nazis locked up in Berlin's Spandau prison. Manning recalled it was a bizarre experience standing over the likes of Rudolf Hess and Albert Speer with a Bren gun.
Crikey. Yes, his opening line was, what's the quickest way to Poland? Straight on, then Third Reich. Honk, honk. For all British people of my generation, the greatest German will always be Boris Becker. I personally was as thrilled to watch him unseated in that 1985 Wimbledon final with Kevin Curran as I was to read about him unseated in a restaurant broom cupboard with a Russian model. In fact, it's greatly to his credit that Playmobil's Boris Becker figurine remained the best-selling toy in Germany from 1986 right up until 2009, when Mattel launched its Angela Merkel Barbie doll.
Henning.
2009 was essentially the height of Angela Merkel's career. So did Mattel produce a figurine of her?
They absolutely did. Well done.
The German love of dogs is reflected in their word dogging. For example, in Germany, if I were to be discovered hobby dogging with a bunch of like-minded fellas in a remote car park or lay-by, it would simply mean we were out walking our invisible dogs.
Holly.
That's so insane, it must be true.
It is true. Yes, hobby dogging is a growing trend in Germany in which participants walk and train imaginary dogs. The craze was started in a small town...
hang on. When we say a growing trend, well, it used to be 3 people and now it's 5. Well,
I haven't got the figures. You've been a long time out of that country, Henry.
And if you think of how many litters those invisible dogs must have had in that town.
The craze was started in a small town in southern Germany by dog trainer Barbara Gerlinger, who now runs hobby dogging courses. Participants are encouraged to go on long dog walks and complete challenging obstacle courses with their imaginary pets. Gerlinger has even crafted her own line of leashes, reinforced with an internal wire, which are designed to give the impression of being pulled tight by an invisible dog.
she's a charlatan.
She's an entrepreneur.
The German love of Christmas stems from the fact that Father Christmas, or St. Nikolaus, was actually German, and most English Christmas carols are actually translations, or mistranslations, from the German.
Henning.
Yeah, that's true. The Christmas carols.
No.
Yeah, of course.
No.
Tannenbaum, oh Tannenbaum, wie grün sind deine Blätter.
Ja.
So grünst nicht nur zur Sommerzeit, nein, auch im Winter, wenn es schneit. Oh Tannenbaum, wie grün sind deine Blätter.
There's that one, and there's Silent Night, but that's not most...
Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht, alles schläft einsam wach.
Right,
Nur
truce
das
over. The truce is over. Yes, come on everyone, back to the trenches. Miles.
One such mistranslation concerns the German King Wenceslas, who, far from being good, was so evil that after one particularly disappointing meal, he ordered the chef to be roasted alive on a spit. When asked exactly how he wanted him roasted, Wenceslas replied, "Till it's crisp and even."
Holly.
I would love Wenceslas to be a baddie.
Well, you're right that the German king or emperor Wenceslas was a baddie.
Yes.
I think...
Why did they write a song about about
The
him?
carol was about a different king who was supposedly nicer than that, but this is a 15th century German emperor, Wenceslas.
Is Wenceslas a common name in Germany?
No.
He was notorious for his ruthlessness, and in 1400 the prince-electors of Cologne, Mainz, Trier and the Palatinate had him deposed because he was so unpleasant. And this was in the Middle Ages.
Once again, some unpleasant foreigner giving us a bad name.
Thank you, Miles. And at the end of that round, Miles, you've managed to smuggle one truth past the rest of the panel, which is that in 2008, the 18th century German poet Friedrich Schiller was sent a reminder to pay his TV license by the German Television Licensing Agency. It was using the address of a primary school that was named after him. The school's head teacher contacted the agency, informing him that since Schiller died in 1805, he was, quote, not in a position to watch television or listen to radio. Despite this, a second reminder was sent, stating that Schiller would not have to pay if he could personally prove that he was not in a position to watch television or listen to radio. They subsequently issued an apology and blamed a computer error. And that means, Miles, you've scored 1 point. Which brings us to the final scores. In joint second place, with -1 point each, it's Henning Vane, Lucy Porter and Miles Jupp. And in first place, with an unassailable 8 points, it's this week's winner, Holly Walsh. That's about it for this week. Goodbye.
The Unbelievable Truth was devised by John Naismith and Graham Garden and featured David Mitchell in the chair with panellists Miles Jupp, Lucy Porter, Holly Walsh and Henning Vane. The chairman's script was written by Dan Gaster and Colin Swash and the producer was John Naismith. It was a random production for BBC Radio 4.
Hello and welcome to the Unbelievable Truth Christmas Special. We're coming to you on Boxing Day, otherwise known as the Feast of St. Stephen, when the early Christian martyr St. Stephen is celebrated with generous helpings of leftover turkey, usually followed by a substantial Yule log. As you'd expect, I'm being assisted by 4 of my little helpers, and today's comedy elves are Jack D, Graham Garden, Rufus Hound and Lee Mack. The rules are as follows. Each panellist will present a short lecture that should be entirely false, save for 5 pieces of true information, which they should attempt to smuggle past their opponents, cunningly concealed amongst the lies. Points are scored by truths that go unnoticed, while other panellists can win points if they spot a truth, or lose points if they mistake a lie for a truth. First up is Lee Mack. You'll know him as the straight man on BBC One's Would I Lie to You? Lee started out
and
as
David definitely isn't the straight man of Would I Lie to You?
Lee started out as a blue coat at Pontins in Great Yarmouth, where entertainment was billed as being just a stone's throw away. Sounds like the perfect distance. Lee, your subject is reindeer, described by my encyclopedia as large antler-bearing deer found in the northern and Arctic regions of Europe, Asia and North America. Off you go, Lee. Fingers on buzzers, the rest of you.
Reindeer got their name because they were used... Oh, they were used, sorry. You can pronounce used 2 different ways, can't you? Used or used. Interesting fact, there.
Rufus.
That is true.
That
you
is
can.
true, isn't it? Yeah. Reindeer got their name because they were used to find water in times of drought. A reindeer would be taken out onto the parched Scandinavian deserts, and wherever it stuck its nose into the ground, water would be found, and its keeper would shout, "It's reindeer." Except, as they didn't speak English, the word they used was hren, an Old Norse expression meaning reindeer. Being nomadic, each year a reindeer travels about 500 miles or 800 kilometres, depending on whether it left school before or after 1985.
Rufus.
I'm in. I think they do travel vast distances, don't they?
They do travel vast distances, but not about 500 miles or 800 kilometres, about 4,800 kilometres or 3,000 miles.
Yeah, but would they, in order to travel that distance, would they not have to start by travelling 500 miles or 800
Well,
kilometres?
yes.
I refer you back to my earlier sentence, though, of being nomadic. Each year, a reindeer travels about 500 miles.
And then another 500 miles. I know for a fact reindeer operate on the Proclaimers principle of distance measurement.
Yeah.
They would walk 500 miles, and then they would walk 500 more, 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 and then they would walk 300 more.
Lee.
Thank you, David. Yeah. I wish we got on this well on our other panel show.
Yeah.
I think Rufus is making me look quite posh. I like that. To put that in human terms, that's the average distance Ryanair passengers travel from the airport to the town they thought they were going to.
Jack.
Look, come on, you've got to have some true things in this, otherwise the game doesn't work at all.
That's the average distance Ryanair passengers travel from the airport to the town.
No, I'm just saying, I'm picking you up on the fact you've said nothing true yet.
That's exactly when you're not supposed to buzz.
Well, I'm saying we haven't yet got a game going because he's not saying anything true and he's nearly at the end of it.
Do you celebrate in football every time someone doesn't score a goal?
I think it's one of the best bits.
I must say, in snooker, I like the safety play these days. Always disappointed to see a flashy pot.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were trying out some new catchphrases. Although they like a drink, reindeer are not fans of Asda's own brand lager, but they'll happily drink human urine, mainly due to its higher alcohol content.
Rufus.
Reindeer will drink human urine, but it's not because of its alcohol content, it'll be because it's salty or full of urea or something.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. It's not for the urea, it's the salt.
Can Rufus now explain why he knows it's salty?
No, Rufus cannot.
Yeah, apparently reindeer will seek out urine as a special treat, and some tribesmen carry sealskin containers of their own urine, which they use to attract stray reindeer back to the herd.
The reindeer's love of alcohol is a likely cause of the famous red nose, while its consumption of hallucinogenic drugs is a likely reason for all those stories of flying reindeer.
Graham.
They do. They eat magic mushrooms or something, don't they, reindeer? They're famous for it. And then the reindeer owners drink the reindeer's urine because it's still got the magic mushroom potency in it.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Can I ask Jack not to ask how I know that?
There are no reindeer in Scotland because they were all shot by Queen Victoria for their skins, which she had made into winter underwear, and for their antlers, which she used as novelty back scratchers. At Queen Victoria's coronation, it was suggested she might wear a crown resembling a pair of antlers, but she objected, saying, "We are not a moose." Thanks for getting that clapping started, Rufus. That was much appreciated.
I was trying to get a slow clap started.
Oh, I see. Reindeer have different hooves for different types of weather. In the summer, they have deep tread patterns like 4x4 tyres to give traction going across mud. But in the winter, they sprout tennis rackets for walking on snow. Reindeer...
Rufus.
Oh, I'm going to hate myself, aren't I? I think their footprint changes depending on the temperature.
No. What is true is the bit you laughed at, which is that they have different hooves for different types of weather.
Well, I think that sort of was your answer, wasn't it, Rufus?
Well, yeah, it was sort of.
I'll tell you what the true thing is, and then we can work out whether or not you thought it. Which is... I think that's the fairest thing in the world, isn't it?
You're using exactly the same technique that David Cameron uses on Nick Clegg.
Reindeer hooves adapt according to the season. During the summer, they become spongy to give the reindeer extra traction on the soft, wet tundra, and in winter they shrink and harden, exposing the rim of the hoof, which prevents the reindeer slipping on the frozen ground.
You said that they shrink.
And it does actually say it exposes the rim of the hoof, which is definitely a phrase I didn't expect to be saying. I think you can have the point, and I think the main reason being is I've forgotten what you said.
In modern versions of the Santa sleigh story, Donna and Blitzen have been replaced by a pair of reindeer called Antler and Declan. When the Vikings arrived in Greenland, pulled by their reindeer, they invented winter sports, including the uphill bobsleigh, and after strapping reindeer bones to their feet, Ice skating.
Jack.
I wonder if there's a little bit of truth of using reindeer bones to get around on ice.
You're absolutely right. Yes, that's true. They filed down the bones of reindeer or oxen to use as ice skates.
Today, it's increasingly hard to find reindeer in Iceland. They're actually hiding in the frozen party packs of economy sausages next to the prawn rings.
Thank you, Lee. So, Lee, at the end of that round, you've managed to smuggle one truth past the rest of the panel, which is that hrein, spelt H-R-E-I-N-N, is an Old Norse expression meaning reindeer. So with that boring and well-smuggled fact, I can announce that, Lee, you've scored 1 point.
Come on.
OK, we turn now to Graham Garden. Graham was recently awarded an OBE in recognition of his work for the British Empire. Now greatly reduced in importance and regarded as irrelevant by many, Graham is still a regular on Radio 4. Your subject, Graham, is the pantomime, a traditional British Christmas entertainment for children, usually adapted from a fairy tale.
Shakespeare loved pantomime, although he only wrote 4. Dick Whittington of Athens, Buttons and Juliet, Mother Goose About Nothing, and, of course, the Scottish panto. Today, the unlucky panto is said to be Snow White. Disaster struck the 1997 production in Southampton, when all the dwarfs went down with flu apart from Sneezy. At the height of Victorian panto mania, a typical Drury Lane production would have a cast of 2,000, including 50 horses, and the show would run for over 12 hours.
Lee.
I would say that sounds true. What? Someone just laughed for no reason like I was a fool.
2,000 people and 50 horses.
Oh, sorry.
That's not true, that, unfortunately.
No, you wouldn't fit them all in the theatre.
The most elaborate Victorian pantomimes were at the Drury Lane Theatre in London. The 40 Thieves, which opened on the 27th of December 1886, began at 7:30 p.m. and ended at 1 a.m., as the audience here will be familiar with. There were only 500 people on stage, though, not 2,000. But each of the 40 Thieves had his own band of followers, and it took over 40 minutes for them all to march out from a cave at the back of the stage.
Can I also say, I think there was already a truth smuggled in, but I was enjoying it so much I didn't want to interrupt.
Right. Well, you mustn't feel like that in this game, or the whole thing is rendered pointless.
Yeah.
But if you've spotted it much later, I can't give you the point for it.
No, I
but we can
realise
still
that.
discuss it as friends.
I'm pretty sure all of the dwarfs in Snow White went down with flu apart from Sneezy.
You're right.
But I just...
That is true. Yeah.
I'm all right with that. I'm just happy to be here.
Graham.
What? Handbags nearly flew in the House of Commons when Chris Bryant MP called Chancellor George Osborne Baron Hardup, and Osborne replied by referring to Bryant as a pantomime dame.
Lee.
That's true.
Yes, it is true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nowadays, of course, all pantos have to be politically correct by law. In 2009, Haringey Council demanded that the giant in Jack and the Beanstalk at the Bernie Grant Arts Centre should be renamed in the programme as Differently Short Person. At a 2007 production of Peter Pan, Cornish health and safety officers insisted that children should wear hard hats during the flying scenes.
Jack.
I think the one about Peter Pan and hard hats is quite likely to be true.
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
In Norwich, a local television presenter emailed 30 primary schools asking if they would be interested in a free performance of Dick Whittington. They only received one reply because the school's filtering service had blocked the emails because of the panto's title.
I'm sorry to be pedantic, but I think that was probably true as well. I mean,
well, that's what they said had happened. You know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we were desperate. It sounded brilliant. Yeah, it must have been filtered out by the damn politically correct.
Am I right or not?
You are right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Even Julius Caesar was a big fan of pantomime. Nothing could get him helpless with laughter like a cry of, "He's behind you." Panto in the Middle Ages was condemned by the Church. They deemed it unacceptable for men to dress as women, as it might inflame unsavoury desires. The men tried to get round this by dressing as cows, but that only made it worse. But does the old spirit of traditional panto live on today? Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, no, it doesn't. Be that as it may, purists may take heart. Only a couple of years ago in Halifax, the punk band Chumbawamba produced a pantomime entitled Riot, Rebellion and Bloody Insurrection.
Rufus.
That is true.
Yes, it is true.
And when the show was revived some years later in Guildford, starring Timmy Mallet and Chantel of Big Brother, it was surprisingly bad.
Thank you, Graham. And Graham, at the end of that round, you've only managed to smuggle one truth past the rest of the panel, which was actually the one that Rufus spotted but sportingly didn't interrupt, which was the thing about the 1997 production of Snow White in Southampton when all the dwarfs went down with flu apart from Sneezy. So that means you've only scored 1 point. Oh. Many popular entertainers perform in panto, joining in with the traditional cries of, "Where are the best years of my career? Behind you!" Now it's the turn of Jack D. Before becoming a comedian, Jack used to work in a factory that made artificial legs, where, ironically, he and his customers both wanted to do the same thing. Stand up. Jack? Your subject, Jack, is Christmas decorations, objects commonly used at Christmas both inside and outside the home to adorn, enrich or beautify that to which they're attached.
Christmas decorations date back to around 400 BC, but didn't catch on at first. Boxing Day is so called because traditionally it was the day that people put all their decorations back in the box, whilst muttering what a waste of time that was. Still, at least your parents have gone. On Boxing Day, until the mid-Victorian era, it was traditional in certain parts of Wales for men to beat the bare arms of women of lower ranks than them with holly until they bled. This quaint ritual was called achlich glithes, which roughly translates as domestic abuse. Christmas crackers were originally called Cossacks. They were invented in Russia as a special treat for the Tsar's children in 1805 and often contained a joke by Lee Mack.
Rufus.
I think they were developed for the Tsar's children.
No, they weren't. Oh. No. Someone called Tom Smith started developing the cracker after a trip to Paris in 1840.
The Christmas decorations in Regent Street are lent to the City of London by Dale Winton. The rest of the year he uses them to make his bedroom look nice. Having your outdoor Christmas lights on a varying flash sequence is banned in Folkestone, as it is considered vulgar and lowers the tone of the town. Hard though that may be to imagine.
Rufus.
I think it is banned in certain parts of Folkestone, but not because it's bad luck for the town. Is it because it's right on the shore and it looks like a lighthouse, or ships are drawn to it, or something like that?
Ships are drawn to it, like moths. Get a collection of enthusiastic tankers just banging against the quay. No, it's not banned. It's deemed fine.
In the 19th century, Christmas tree candles contained lethal amounts of arsenic and caused countless cases of accidental poisoning.
Lee.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
One Christmas Eve, the magician Paul Daniels told his wife Debbie that he had made all the presents he had brought her disappear. He then explained that to make them reappear, he'd have to dash out quickly to Argos. A popular Christmas decoration in Ukraine is an artificial spider, whereas the fun-loving folk of neighbouring Belarus mark the festive season by hanging an empty saucepan above their front doors.
Rufus.
Is the thing about Belarus true?
No.
The spider bit, is that true?
Yes, the spider bit is true. Yeah. Ukrainian tradition has it that a spider heard of a poor family who had nothing with which to decorate their yalinka, or Christmas tree, and so spun a beautiful sparkling web all over the tree during the night.
In Sweden, a common Christmas decoration is a straw goat. Each year I receive a Christmas tree from Norway as a gift to thank me for all the amazing things I've done, but it's so large I have to put it in Trafalgar Square.
Thank you, Jack. And Jack, you've managed to smuggle 3 truths past the rest of the panel, which are that on Boxing Day until the mid-Victorian era, it was traditional in certain parts of Wales for men to beat the arms and legs of servants and the lazy with holly until they bled. Christmas crackers were originally called Cossacks. It's thought that the name was an allusion to the sudden gunfire or the crack of a whip belonging to the wild and undisciplined Cossack forces who occupied Paris following the first fall of Napoleon in 1814. It's a very specific reason. And the third truth is that in Sweden, a common Christmas decoration is a straw goat called a julnock. Alongside small domestic versions, the Swedish also decorate public spaces with ones up to 40 feet tall, although these are often set on fire by arsonists. There's nothing more festive, is there, than the sight of a giant burning goat. That means, Jack, that you've scored 3 points. Vincent van Gogh painted his starry night scenes by fixing candles to his straw hat. Hence his most famous work, Man with Hat on Fire. Next up is Rufus Hound. Rufus has a number of tattoos on his body, including one of monkeys fighting robots on his arm. He claims it's an allegory, which it is, warning of the dangers of visiting a tattoo parlour while drunk. Rufus, your Boxing Day subject is the box, a container typically square or rectangular with a removable lid or cover. Off you go, Rufus.
Well, actually, as you know, it's a Christmas special. I thought I would do something special and wrap my lecture. And with it being about boxes, I've invited a beatboxer to join me. Please can everybody welcome Grace Savage to the stage.
For those listening at home, yes, this is really happening.
I realise at this point trying to do hip-hop on Radio 4 is immediately alarming. If you're listening to this, try to chill out a little bit. I went to private school and Grace lived in Guildford for a year. Ready? Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Pin 'em back and listen up. Try not to be whack, Jack, I'm coming up with truths all about that which things come in. Brown paper packages tied up with string. I'm talking about boxes, conceptually tough. 3D rectangles that you fill with stuff. But the stuff that's in boxes will normally change depending on context, otherwise it's strange. Schrodinger, philosophic science whiz, popped a kitty in his, a pretty kitty, and says, if you open the box, there's electric shocks. Don't touch the locks, the cat is now a paradox. Both dead and alive is the feline situation, but its status will be changed by the act of observation. The main thing that we learn from that, Schrodinger did not like cats.
Graham.
Can I just hear that again? I think Schrodinger didn't like cats. He hated cats.
It's certainly difficult to infer that you'd be particularly pro-feline, is all you did was think about them in a box all trapped and maybe dead and alive at the same time.
It's very odd having this conversation after the rap, isn't it?
Yeah. So. It's certainly not one of the truths that Rufus was sent to smuggle, but I think you can have a point for saying that I reckon Schrodinger wasn't that keen on cats.
Yeah.
But do write in if you know differently. So, Rufus, carry on with that. Carry on.
Have you emceed a lot of rap gigs?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Over a century ago, if you had cornflakes, it may have been your wife who put a smile on the face of the local grocer. Why do you suppose a respectable woman would act like a hoser? Well, a promotion from Kellogg's told ladies of the day that free cornflakes would be heading their way if they winked at the bloke behind the counter. He'd know she wanted cornflakes and not try to mount her. And if she wanted free Weetabix, she just undid her cardie and showed him his tip. I feel sorry for you if you were Victorian, and while everyone else was asleep and snoring, you fancied a fiddle with your downstairs self, which now we all agree is quite good for your health. So men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Parents popped little boxes on their Martian's penis, and if any members in the night stirred, an alarm went off and a buzzer was heard.
Lee.
Did parents used to pop boxes on their little Martians' penises?
Yes, they did. Yes, that is true. But yes, the Victorians invented the self-abuse alarm. A small box wired to a buzzer was attached to a young man's penis to allow worried parents to hear a buzzer in the event of nocturnal activity. So, yeah.
It was the bane of my childhood.
Jack, stop that.
Rufus, do continue.
Okay. With table tennis bats, the next verse starts, and if you ever wonder where they got the parts to build them, bruv, I ain't joking, it was the lids of the boxes of cigars that they were smoking. If you waited, Beth braided...
Graham.
I'm terribly sorry, Rufus.
No, really don't apologise, Graham. This is a rod from my own bat.
I think table tennis was started they actually played with cigar boxes.
You're absolutely right. Originally, table tennis, which at the time, as we know, thanks to Boris Johnson, was called whiff-waff, was played using cigar box lids as bats and champagne corks as balls and books as a net.
Lovely woman, Annette.
Jack.
If you've waited Beth braided at the weight that I'm punching with a spare tin lunchbox that's got no lunch in, you'll get a king's ransom from Marilyn Manson. The geezer collects them, he thinks that they're handsome, which isn't the behaviour you'd expect from the brother. Goes to show you, contact a goth by its cover. But now we're easing people pleasingly through seasonal business, like Slade told you.
It's Christmas!
Eat, drink, be merry, just love, no scorning. Enjoy your prezzies, but hear my warning. Every year, accidents accrue. 10,500 in 2002 from cardboard boxes.
Lee?
I think 10,500 accidents did ensue in 2002. If that indeed was what he said that was true. See, it's addictive, isn't it?
It's much easier than I make it look, isn't it?
Yes, you're absolutely right. He was, yeah. He was saying 10,500 accidents in 2002 with cardboard boxes.
Okay. Cardboard boxes, these accidents were the instigation, so spread the message across the nation. On Christmas, tidy all your boxes away and keep yourself nice till... Boxing Day.
So, yes, Rufus, at the end of that round, you've managed to smuggle 2 truths.
Hooray!
Past the panel. And those 2 truths are that in 1907, one of the ad campaigns for Kellogg's cornflakes offered a free box of cereal to every woman who would wink at her grocer.
No. Really?
Different times, weren't they? And the other truth is that Marilyn Manson collects old tin lunchboxes. And that means, Rufus, you've scored 2 points. Which brings us to the final scores. In 4th place, with no points, we have Lee Mack.
Yes.
In 3rd place, with 1 point, it's Rufus Hound. And in joint 1st place, with an unassailable 4 points each, it's this week's winners, Graham Garden and Jack D. That's about it for our Christmas special. All that remains is for me to thank our guests. They were all truly unbelievable, and that's the unbelievable truth. Goodbye.
The Unbelievable Truth was devised by John Naismith and Graham Garden and featured David Mitchell in the chair with panellists Graham Garden, Lee Mack, Rufus Hound and Jack D. The chairman's script was written by Colin Swash and Dan Gaster, and the producer was John Naismith. It was a random production for BBC Radio 4.
Welcome to The Unbelievable Truth, the panel show about incredible truths and barely credible lies. I'm David Mitchell. Elvis Presley once said, "Truth is like the sun. You can shut it out for a time, but it ain't ever going away." For our listeners in Scotland, the sun is like a giant light bulb, but outside. Time to introduce our panel now, and 4 of the best comedians in the country was a big ask. Nevertheless, please welcome Arthur Smith, Lou Sanders, Phil Wang and Richard Osman. The rules are as follows. Each panellist will present a short lecture that should be entirely false, save for 5 hidden truths which their opponent should try to identify. Points are scored by truths that go unnoticed, while other panellists can win points if they spot a truth, or lose points if they mistake a lie for a truth. First up is Arthur Smith. Arthur starred in the BBC's remake of Are You Being Served, which was a surprise, as the BBC don't normally like going back over stuff that happened in the 70s. Arthur, your subject is sugar, a sucrose-based crystalline substance used as a sweetener and preservative in food and drink. Off you go, Arthur. Fingers on buzzers, the rest of you.
A popular dish in Norway is walrus liver fried in sugar. In North Korea, they eat dog rolled in sugar. And if you think that's revolting, in China, they put sugar on fish and chips. However, in Macedonia, you can buy a sugar kebab.
Lou.
One of them's true because a man in the audience just nodded.
He was probably going to sleep.
I think...
There's Norway walrus liver in sugar, North Korean dog rolled in sugar,
I love that.
Chinese sugar on fish and
That
chips,
one as well.
Macedonian sugar kebab.
North Korea and China, at it again.
Okay, so you're buzzing twice.
Yeah.
Once for North Korea,
Is
once for
that
China.
legal?
Of course it is. So you make 2 guesses, once for North Korea, once for China.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, one's true, one's false. So you even out.
Oh.
You've wiped your face, it's fine. Yes, in China, they put sugar on fish and chips. That's the true one, which is wrong.
Since there are approximately 1.5 million grains of sugar in a kilo...
Lou.
1.5 million grains of sugar in a kilo.
You're absolutely right. Yes, yeah. Also, it was estimated by the University of Illinois, though they note that the figure will be higher for powdered sugar and lower for brown sugar due to the size of the crystals.
So someone actually sat and counted them, presumably, did they?
I
mean,
don't
how would you find out?
I don't think they sat and counted. I imagine they would count a percentage of it and then multiply it up. That's what I'd do.
In 1948, a woman called Greta Carbo slept with a man called Wilfred Hydrate, and they had a baby boy they called Alan Sugar. His childhood nickname was Plum. There's a village in Germany called Sugarfart, a town...
Phil.
I think Alan Sugar's nickname as a child was Plum.
No.
Why would you put that in there?
Because I'm really clever.
I think it was P.G. Woodhouse's nickname.
There's a town in Colorado called Sugaryville and a pub in Glasgow called the Sugarman's Lament. And Alan Sugar's childhood nickname was really Poppet.
Richard.
There must be a pub in Glasgow called the Sugarman's Lament.
No.
What? Why? Literally, Plum, I get. Why would you make that up? Where's he going with that?
I don't know. What you're saying is it's neither true nor funny. It's just literally a waste of time.
Well, I'll tell you what it is, which is it's an absolutely lovely name for a pub.
You're right.
Yes.
And or a novel even. The Sugarman's Lament.
Oh, the Sugarman's Lament.
Yeah.
By
So
Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
Episode 1, read by Martin Jarvis.
Right, sugar is the main ingredient in many types of moisturiser. A fact I learnt when I set up my own range of cosmetics. And by the way, please ask after if you'd like a free sample of my Arthur Smith anti-wrinkle cream. Not selling terribly well. I should mention here that Alan Sugar's childhood nickname was actually Mopsy. The man who wrote these words, "Sugar, oh sugar, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you," went on to win the Pulitzer Prize, to play football for Wimbledon Athletic, and to be convicted of murder. And I sing that song better than anyone else in the world.
Richard.
Well, it's Wimbledon or murder.
That's what you say to all the girls.
That is for sure. I'm going to say that the man who wrote Sugar Sugar went to prison for murder.
That's not true. No. It was written by Jeff Barry and Andy Kim, who had a big hit in 1974 with Rock Me Gently.
And they never caught either of them.
Not yet.
In 1919, 21 people in Boston, Massachusetts were killed by a 2 million gallon, 25-foot-high wave of treacle, which swallowed 8 buildings. It was the best day of King Kong's life. A few years ago, an unfortunate misprint on the packaging of Findus lasagna announced contains added sugar. In 2006, the Blair government made candy cigarettes illegal. You can still get them on the dark web, but you don't need them anyway because real cigarettes also contain sugar. And let me start by saying Alan Sugar's childhood nickname was Flurgelhassenbercher.
Real cigarettes do have some kind of sugar in them.
They do. Well done, yes. Cigarette manufacturers have added sugar, caramel and cocoa to cigarettes to improve their flavour and potency. And that's the end of Arthur's lecture. And at the end of that round, Arthur, you've managed to smuggle 2 truths past the rest of the panel, which are that Alan Sugar's childhood nickname was Mopsy. He was given the nickname as a child due to his curly hair. And the second truth is that in 1919, 21 people in Boston, Massachusetts were killed by a 2 million gallon, 20-foot-high wave of treacle which swallowed 8 buildings.
I mean, how the hell did that happen? Someone's really copped up there, haven't they?
Yes, it was called the Great Molasses Flood, and it was when a 50-foot-tall tank holding 2.3 million gallons of molasses burst. The destructive flood threw people and horses about. It killed 21 people, injured 150, smashed buildings, and even damaged the steel supports of an elevated railway. Rescuers had to wade knee-deep through black treacle and sticky debris to reach survivors. And that means, Arthur, that you've scored 2 points. As late as the 15th century, a teaspoon of sugar in Britain was worth £3 in today's money. And if you buy it in my local branch of Whole Foods, it still is. Syria has the sweetest soft drinks anywhere in the world. To be fair, they probably do deserve the occasional treat. Next up is Lou Sanders. Lou grew up in Broadstairs in Kent, the very same town where Charles Dickens wrote his classic novel David Copperfield. Coincidence? Yes. Lou, your subject is chickens. Common domesticated fowl raised for their meat and eggs. Off you go, Lou.
Okay. In the hit TV sitcom Birds of a Feather, Doreen's character was originally going to be played by a chicken, but they tried a few chickens out in the role and they're just not very good actors. Also, the TV show was initially going to be shown pre-Watershed, and a lot of chickens were like, cluck this, cluck that. There is no word for chicken in China, Mandarin or whatever, sorry, Phil, to indicate...
You say there's no word for chicken in China, Mandarin, whatever?
Yeah. You know the other one they speak. No one's bothered. Okay. There's no...
Lou, to be fair, you shouldn't just apologise to Phil.
Okay. Start again. In China, there's no word for chicken, right? So to indicate chicken, they've got to flap their arms, waddle like a duck, and then they quack like a duck, and then someone says duck, and then they're like, no. In Japan, chicken shit is used both as an insult and a face cream.
Richard.
They use guano, don't they, in face cream?
They don't use chicken excrement in face cream, no.
Well, then I don't know what I'm using, because...
Well, it could be the Japanese use Asian nightingale excrement mixed with rice bran in beauty facials. So
well, hold on, I've been eating that.
We all know that chickens have a temper and get cross, sure, but also chickens can be diagnosed with depression and feel empathy. So if you eat battery farm chickens, it means they'll never go out with you.
Phil.
I think chickens can have depression. I've tasted it.
You're right. They can be diagnosed with depression and feel empathy. Empathy was once thought to be a uniquely human trait. However, then someone met Piers Morgan. But, however, in experiments, female chickens showed clear signs of anxiety and upset when their young were in distress. Chickens have also been observed to suffer depression, particularly those with the chicken anemia virus.
Theresa May has identified the British chicken as her spirit animal. But we think she did this to honour a previous chap who lived at 10 Downing Street who was called Mr. Chicken. And his favourite meal? Chicken, of course. Mrs. Chicken. Wink.
Richard.
I think there was a previous inhabitant of 10 Downing Street called Mr. Chicken.
There was. Really? That's very well spotted. I didn't think anyone would get that. Yes, according to Number 10's website, the Downing Street house had several distinguished residents before it was used by prime ministers. The Countess of Yarmouth, followed by Lord Lansdowne and the Earl of Grantham. The last private resident was one Mr. Chicken.
During the First World War, Kaiser Wilhelm urged farmers to feed their hens gunpowder so their eggs could be used as hand grenades. Lenny Henry and Claudia Winkleman are allergic to chicken, and some chickens are allergic to feathers. Absolute nightmare.
I reckon one out of Lenny and Claudia's allergic to chickens, which I imagine must be possible, and it is Claudia Winkleman.
Incorrect.
Damn.
Richard.
I think that some chickens are allergic to feathers.
Incorrect. Any more?
Lenny Henry's afraid of chickens. Sorry, allergic to them.
Yes, Lenny Henry is allergic to chickens.
See?
Yeah. In response to a question by the Telegraph about whether he was allergic to anything, I imagine it's a regular feature in the Telegraph, are you allergic to anything? He responded, I'm allergic to chicken. This week on Are You Allergic to Anything? Lenny Henry, I'm allergic to chicken. Big picture of him, picture of a chicken, quote, I'm allergic to chicken. It's a great way of filling up space. You don't need to send a reporter anywhere. Next week, Keith Chegwin and peanuts. Anyway, I'm allergic to chicken. I used to eat fast food chicken and it made my eyes swell up, so I stopped eating it. So it's even better. There's a story to go with it.
Maybe you're serious in this.
Yeah.
Once, a chicken McNugget sold on eBay for over $8,000 because it looked a bit like George Washington.
Phil.
I think a chicken nugget did sell for $8,000.
I'm so angry.
As you can infer from Lou's rage, that is correct. The 3-year-old chicken McNugget sold for $8,100 in 2012 after receiving 71 bids from 23 bidders.
Ex-Top Gear presenter Richard Hammond used to work as a chicken chaser at his local farm until the farmer fired him for getting off with a chicken.
Phil.
I reckon that's true about Richard Hammond chasing chickens, and that's where he got his taste for speed.
You're absolutely right, yes. The young Richard Hammond decided not to go to university and instead took a series of part-time jobs, including working as a chicken chaser on a local
What sort
farm.
of job is that? I mean, why do they need chasing?
Funny you should ask that.
He's still chasing cocks to this day, isn't he?
The job of chicken chaser involves getting the birds in a place so they can be sexed.
Lovely stuff.
As in their sex determined. It's important to determine the sex of a chicken as early as possible so you know to kill all the male ones.
Oi, oi!
Otherwise, you spend your life feeding thousands and thousands of male chickens under incredibly cruel conditions, hoping that one of them will lay an egg.
Okay. David Beckham can only make love to his wife if he and she are both dressed as chickens. They don't have to imitate any of the sounds. It really is just a visual thing for David.
Thank you, Lou. And at the end of that round, Lou, you've managed to smuggle no truths past the rest of the panel, which means you've scored no points.
Thank you.
In the 17th century, Pancake Day was celebrated by beating a chicken to death with cudgels, while pancakes were traditionally enjoyed on Smash a Chicken to Death Day. Andy Warhol's brother, Paul Warhol, held an exhibition of paintings he'd created using chicken feet as brushes. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing this may be why we've never heard of Paul Warhol. Next up is Phil Wang. Phil is half English, half Malaysian. Weirdly divided lengthways. Phil, your subject is aeroplanes. Fixed-wing flying vehicles that are propelled forward by jet engines or propellers. Fingers on buzzers, the rest of you. Off you go, Phil.
The aeroplane as we know it today was in fact originally designed by Leonardo's brother, Eric DiCaprio. Early commercial flights had to observe a speed limit of 10 miles an hour and had to have a balloonist fly in front of them carrying a red flag and a carrot. Stewardesses used to be called sky mums. And the first propeller engine was known to everybody as Apollo's desk fan.
Lou.
I think Sky Mums might be true.
It's not true.
I just thought because of the patriarchy.
Yeah. If it were true, that would be why. But,
Cool.
The first American jet fighters in the 40s and 50s were known as blowjobs because they so often went down.
Richard.
It's a good joke, but I wonder if they were called that.
You're right to wonder. It's absolutely true. Blowjob was a short-lived but reasonably widespread nickname amongst pilots for a number of early jet planes.
If you flew from London to New York by Concorde, due to the time zones you crossed, you could arrive 1.5 hours before you left. And if you kept flying back and forth, you'd eventually go back in time to the days before the airplane was invented, and it would disappear beneath you.
Richard.
Yeah, you did used to be able to turn up before you left.
Yes, in terms of the time on the clock, you absolutely could. The flight time of Concorde was 3.5 hours, and the time difference between the two places being 5 hours. So, yeah.
It's amazing, isn't
Have
it?
you been on the Concorde, Richard?
No.
Oh, cool.
Now, that's a chat show.
According to law, if a baby is delivered on a flight, she or he can get the citizenship of the country the airline is registered in.
I reckon
Arthur.
that's true.
It is true. According to the United Nations, a baby born on a flight is a citizen of the country where the airline is registered.
If, however, the baby is delivered in the cockpit, it has to immediately take over as pilot. In the aviation community, babies that were born on flights are called metal eggs, and when fully grown are entitled by birthright to drink the blood of any flight attendant. And speedy boarding. Passengers who died on British Airways flights used to be given sunglasses, a vodka and tonic, and a copy of the Daily Mail to avoid discovery by other passengers, because who'd want to talk to that guy?
Lou.
I think they were given sunglasses. I've lost so bad. I'm going to go with that. That was true.
It is true.
Yes.
Yay! Well done.
Yes. According to a lead cabin crew trainer quoted in the Daily Telegraph in 2016, British Airways used to prop up dead passengers and pretend they were dozing. She said, "It's what we used to do many years ago. Give them a vodka and tonic, a Daily Mail and eye shades, and we were like, they're fine." We don't do that now.
Passengers on Qatar Airways flights can carry one Falcon in economy class. In business class, your Falcon gets its own seat and free-flowing mice.
Richard.
I suspect in first class on Qatar Airways you can bring a falcon and have it in a seat.
Not just in first class, in economy class.
Oh. Why are they not flying?
Qatar Airways state on their website that passengers are allowed to carry one Falcon in the economy class cabin, with a maximum of 6 Falcons being permitted within the cabin of any one aircraft. So if everyone brings a Falcon, that's not workable.
You can also take one crow in your handbag or backpack, but ostriches must be checked in.
Thank you, Phil. And at the end of that round, Phil, you have also smuggled no truths past the rest of the panel, which means you've scored no points. Next up is Richard Osman. At 2 metres and 1 centimetre high, Richard is one of the tallest panellists ever to have appeared on Radio 4. In fact, he's so tall that the top of his head is almost on Radio 3. Richard, your subject is Kanye West. The Grammy Award-winning American rapper, record producer, fashion designer and entrepreneur. Off you go, Richard.
Kanye West is a parliamentary constituency in Gloucestershire. Won by the Liberal Democrats in 2017. Kanye South is a parliamentary constituency in Botswana, won in 2014 by the Umbrella for Democratic Change. Kanye North was the name of an American Springer Spaniel who won several awards at Crufts in 2017, while passengers for Kanye South should change at Kanye Parkway.
I bet one of those is true again. Out of the names. What was the one in Africa?
Kanye South in Botswana.
No, it was the other one. The one that's true.
You've got north and south left.
All right, north.
No. Kanye North was not the name of an American Springer Spaniel who won several awards at Croft.
Oh, I was thinking of the place. I'll give up.
Kanye West is now, of course, the greatest rap star in the history of the planet. But his previous jobs include being a stuntman in a fabric softener advert, a karate demonstrator in China, and a boomerang salesman in Australia. Sale or return, of course. Thank you. In 2008, Kanye married Kim Jong Kardashian. Guests at the wedding included John Nettles, Christopher Biggins, Sue Pollard, and Martin Roberts from Homes Under the Hammer. Here are some money-saving tips from the wedding. Want to save money on an expensive wedding photographer? Kanye simply paid Google to redirect a GPS satellite to take wedding photos from space. Want to save money on fancy place cards? Kanye simply employed a stonemason to carve the names of the guests directly into the Italian marble wedding tables.
Phil.
I think it's true about the name carvings in the marble.
You're right. That's true.
It's what I do.
Yes, a team of Italian stonemasons were employed to engrave the name of each wedding guest into the marble of the tabletop. It's reported that things did not go entirely to plan. Firstly, as several guests found their names were spelled incorrectly, and secondly, as so many guests brought entourages, so the seating plan turned to chaos. In the end, only Kim and Kanye sat at their allocated places.
Kanye's mafia-themed nicknames include the Bollinger Brando, the Louis Vuitton Don, the Givenchy Godfather, and the Corleone of Georgia Asda.
Lou.
Louis Vuitton Don is...
You're right.
Well done.
So look straight to the Louis Vuitton Don. Some of Kanye's other nicknames are Pablo, Yeezy, Yeezus, K-Rock, Swag, King Cole, and the Black Zac Efron. I feel like I've just become a machine for reading out gibberish now. Richard.
Among his kids' TV-themed catchphrases are Kanye fix it, yes you can. And Teletubbies say, eh-oh.
That's one of Radio 4's 3 uses of the word for the day gone.
That's the second one.
That's the second one. Now that leaves none for Book of Bedtime.
By Martin Jarvis.
Kanye is the great-great-grandson of tuna magnate John West. Just giving a little pause for a buzz there. Among Kanye's controversial opinions, he has claimed that a Jaffa cake isn't a biscuit, despite being in the biscuit aisle.
Lou.
Absolutely, yes.
What?
About the Jaffa cake.
Do you know, he hasn't spoken on the subject.
Got bigger things on his mind.
I don't know, whether maybe he's waiting for the right moment to... But no.
He claims to prefer it when Eamon and Ruth are hosting This Morning instead of Phil and Holly. He has claimed that Coldplay are better than the Beatles, that Donald Trump is a greater American than Abraham Lincoln, and that the best Nando's flavour is lemon and herb.
Arthur.
Definitely the better than Lincoln. I mean, that's a classic Kanye West thing, isn't it? And he was a Trump supporter, wasn't he, I think?
He has not made that claim.
Really?
No.
Among his remaining ambitions, he says he wants to rap on Mars, mainly because it rhymes with so much.
I think he has
Phil.
said he's going to rap on Mars.
Yeah.
He hasn't.
Oh.
I mean, it takes about 5 years to get to Mars, doesn't it? I mean, no one's gone, but it would take 5 years
No,
to
it's
get
only
there.
3 years, I think.
Only 3 years?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he would then. Suddenly it all works out, doesn't it? Actually, you're back in barely more than half a decade, aren't you? And that's if you stay for a week.
But also, with the time difference, you get there before you leave anyway. So
All right, yeah.
He wants to work on a track with Sandy Toksvig and David Mitchell, who he calls D-Mitch. And he wants to apologise unreservedly to fans of the Teletubbies for any offence his catchphrase may have caused.
Thank you, Richard. And at the end of that round, Richard, you've managed to smuggle 3 truths past the rest of the panel. The first one, Arthur was very close to, but he lacked the courage of his convictions. It was Kanye South, is a parliamentary constituency in Botswana, won in 2014 by the Umbrella for Democratic Change. The second truth is that Kanye was a karate demonstrator in China. And the third truth is that he's claimed that Coldplay are better than the Beatles. In 2010, he said, in 30 years, when Coldplay are old men, people will look back and say these guys were more talented than the Beatles. And that means, Richard, you've scored 3 points. Kim says that she knew Kanye was the one when she stayed at his place for the first time and he had the heating turned up high. If she likes Kanye, she would have loved my granddad. Kanye's wedding present to Kim was a specially commissioned painting of her wearing a thong with My Queen down the left-hand side of the canvas and Perfect Bitch on the right. An idea he copied from Prince Philip. Which brings us to the final scores. In joint third place with -2 points, it's Arthur Smith and Lou Sanders. In second place with 2 points, it's Richard Osman. And in first place with an unassailable 3 points, it's this week's winner, Phil Wang. That's about it for this week. Goodbye.
The Unbelievable Truth was devised by John Naismith and Graham Garden and featured David Mitchell in the chair with panellists Phil Wang, Lou Sanders, Arthur Smith and Richard Osman. The chairman's script was written by Dan Gaster and Christine Rose and the producer was John Naismith. It was a random production for BBC Radio 4.
And there'll be more unbelievable stuff next week at the same.
Welcome to The Unbelievable Truth, the panel show about incredible truths and barely credible lies. I'm David Mitchell. Tonight I'm joined by 4 of the funniest comedians ever to appear on this show tonight. Please welcome Rufus Hound, Holly Walsh, John Finnemore and Marcus Brigstock. The rules are as follows. Each panellist will present a short lecture that should be entirely false, save for 5 pieces of true information, which they should attempt to smuggle past their opponents, cunningly concealed amongst the lies. Points are scored by truths that go unnoticed, while other panellists can win points if they spot a truth, or lose points if they mistake a lie for a truth. First up is Marcus Brigstock. Marcus, your subject is Eton, or Eton College, a prestigious fee-paying boarding school for boys founded in 1440 and located on the River Thames near Windsor. Off you go, Marcus. Fingers on buzzers, the rest of you.
In 2012, Eton was listed as one of the most deprived schools in the UK when word reached Michael Gove that one of the 4th form had run out of pate. In the Cameroonian Eton tribe, the word for thank you is a bum gang. In the...
Rufus.
I think that's true.
It is true.
It's so... I knew it was quite an obvious one in its way, but it's such a pleasing truth.
Yes,
I kind of
yeah.
don't mind that it's been exposed.
The Eton tribe inhabit the Lakaye Central Division of Cameroon, and an estimated 52,000 people speak the Eton or Esele language, in which thank you is a bum gang.
And all really decent blokes as well. In the 6th form at Eton, you automatically qualify for a bank account at Gringotts. Eton prefects are entitled to wear checked sponge bag trousers and a waistcoat designed as they wish for the rest of...
Ooh. John.
Well, that sounds exactly the sort of thing that an Eton prefect would wear.
It is exactly the sort of thing. Yeah, well done.
A bum gang very much.
What's the difference between a waistcoat and a waistcoat?
Well, a waistcoat is like a sleeveless jacket, but a waistcoat is what gits wear.
Yes, well, the prefects, formerly called the Eton Society, but more commonly known as POP.
I don't think anything at Eton has ever been commonly known.
Yeah, more commonly known, but still extremely uncommonly known.
Is that like Rice Krispies, like Snap and Crackle are working class kids? And
Crackle is middle class. Snap looks up to Crackle.
I know my place.
I get a crackle in the back of my neck.
The fees at Eton per child are roughly the same as it costs to fly to Dublin on Ryanair with 2 suitcases. Despite the high fees, it's tempting, isn't it? Despite the high fees, it is cheaper to send people to Eton than it is to send them to prison. Eton...
Holly.
I reckon that's true.
That is true.
Well, it is absolutely true, and it's not just true in total, it's true per year. Eton's annual school fees are £32,067, which is £304 less than the cost of an average prisoner place in Scotland, and £5,581 less than the average prisoner place in England and Wales. Northern Irish prisons are even more expensive, and in 2012 it would have cost you over twice as much to keep someone in prison in Northern Ireland as it would to send them to Eton.
The rules at Eton include compulsory bellowing lessons for new boys, or pockets as they're called.
Rufus.
I wonder if new boys are called pockets.
You can't call them pockets.
The prefects walking through Windsor, hands in pockets.
Take your hands out of your pocket, boy.
No, they're not. The new boys are not called pockets. The new boys are called, much more sensibly, F-tits.
F-tits.
In no way can I imagine that making life difficult for them.
No.
Eating or socking in the street is a hanging offence, and wearing a hat on a Wednesday on school premises will get you tied to the clock tower with your own gown, and you'll be known as a wetty bobby woo-woo. Parents of Eton boys are allowed to visit their children twice between the ages of 13 and 18 for 5 minutes, 6 minutes if they've lost a relative or moved house and need to leave a new address. Eton Mess is what the NHS will be called in 2 years' time. Only once has a girl been educated at Eton. Her name was Jenny Huntley. She went to Eton by mistake in the early 80s before changing both her name and eventually her sex to become Jeremy Hunt, the health secretary. The canteen at Eton has 2 Michelin stars and a waiting list of over 3 months. The names of the playing fields at Eton include Elton John, Fenterman's Plough, Pilkington's Wedgie, Dutchman's, and a grassy bit for Runny Catchy.
John.
Well, I like a list. No,
Yep.
Whenever there's a list of more than 3, I think that one of those has got to be true. I'm going to go for Dutchman's.
You're right to go for Dutchman's. That is true. Eton also has playing fields with names such as Agars, Upper Club, Sixpenny, and Mesopotamia. Which I'm assuming is not actually Mesopotamia, even though that was a British League of Nations mandate, but I don't think it was also a playing field at Eton. Thank you, Marcus. And at the end of that round, Marcus, you've managed to smuggle just one truth past the rest of the panel, which is that the Eton word for eating, is socking.
And it's a hanging offence.
It's in Eton slang, a hanging offence is not a hanging offence, but an offence. And the Eton tuck shop is known as sock shop. So that means, Marcus, that you've scored 1 point. In 1440, Henry VI founded Eton to provide instruction in grammar to any child unless they were illegitimate. Though, given the number of old Etonians now in the government, they seem to have relaxed the no bastards rule. OK, we turn now to Holly Walsh. Your subject, Holly, is babies. Newborn or recently born children up to the age of 12 months. Off you go, Holly.
Babies are pure evil. Babies are deliberately born without teeth because if they had them, they would bite you.
Rufus.
I think that's true.
I don't know.
Is there not an evolutionary imperative of if we had teeth, that would be painful, so the teeth come later in order that we are, bigger and older?
The whole childbirth process, they hasn't put a lot of thought into not making it painful for the mother. That doesn't seem to have been a high priority.
I don't think we can just...
No, all right, fair enough.
Correlation is not causation.
No, I'm with you on that. I can't pretend to be a little disappointed.
Yeah.
A baby can cry so loudly that it can permanently damage your hearing, which is why in North America...
Marcus.
That is true.
It is true.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. According to the Sight and Hearing Association of Minnesota, babies can cry at a level of 115 decibels. That's just 5 decibels quieter than an ambulance siren. They say it would take just 15 minutes of a baby screaming at 115 decibels to cause permanent damage to hearing. Holly.
The concept of the baby chino, the froth off the top of a cappuccino, is a complete myth. However, in Ireland, babies often order baby ginos, the head off the top of a pint of Guinness. Whereas in Costa Rica, babies are encouraged to drink coffee straight black with a cigarette.
John.
I'm wondering, although not a cigarette, whether babies in the country you mentioned are encouraged to or allowed to have coffee.
Yes, you're absolutely right. In Costa Rica, it's not uncommon to see babies drinking coffee in their bottles, although not black, but with added milk and not with a cigarette.
No, cigars over there.
Yeah, of course.
Following the Beckhams example, parents are now legally obliged to name their children after the places they were conceived or born. A London mum recently named her baby John Lewis after going into labour in Brent Cross shopping centre. Who knows how the baby will feel about that name when she grows up? Other examples include the actor Orlando Bloom, who was conceived in Florida's largest garden centre, and the celebrity Paris Hilton, who was born in the Manchester Hilton.
Rufus.
I think Paris Hilton is called Paris Hilton because there's some connection with Paris.
Possibly, but that's absolutely not what Holly said. No. She said it was a connection with the Manchester Hilton.
Yeah, but it was a swerve ball that, she mentioned it in the same breath. Look, I accept it's wrong, all right? Leave me alone!
Have you listened to a word I've said this entire time? Or have you just heard a noise, like, where?
It's like music, your voice to me, Holly.
Holly.
Sorry, while you're thinking, just to be irritating, I would like to point out, I did hear what you said. I just thought you'd phrased it in a tricksy manner to say, like, these people did at Orlando Bloom Garden Centre, and they're like, oh, obviously it's not a garden centre, and Paris Hilton. And then you put a joke on the end of that, and then that diverts attention from... Because obviously she wasn't named after the Manchester Hilton.
I would hate to be married to you, that's for sure. This is like everyone's turned the lights out and they've all said goodnight and you go to sleep and then you're like, sorry, can I just say one more thing about the argument? Just to make my point heard.
Do you know what's funny about that? Nothing.
Despite the fact that they refuse to speak, there are certain tricks to tell where a baby comes from. French babies cry in a French accent like this, Loire, and traditionally play with mobiles made of hanging onions. German babies wear leather nappies and can only be soothed by the music of David Hasselhoff. And British babies make mildly xenophobic jokes.
John.
Do French babies cry in a French accent, by which I mean, could an expert tell this baby is French just by listening to its cry?
Yes. In 2009, researchers from the University of Würzburg, Germany, discovered that babies begin to pick up the nuances of their parents' accents while still in the womb. Scientists believe this is likely to be the result of babies trying to form a bond with their mothers by imitating them.
Is that also true within the UK? Geordie babies go, why?
Thank you, Holly. And, Holly, at the end of that round, you've managed to smuggle one truth past the rest of the panel, which is that a London mum recently named her baby John Lewis after going into labour in Brent Cross shopping centre. She named the child John Lewis in tribute to helpful staff who came to her aid.
The lovely thing about giving birth in John Lewis is up to 8 weeks later, if you don't like the baby...
And that means, Holly, you've scored 1 point. Men are faster at changing a baby than women. Research shows that the average time taken by a woman to change a baby is 2 minutes and 5 seconds, but a man takes only 1 minute and 36 seconds. The secret? Not giving as much of a toss. Next up is John Finnemore. Your subject, John, is Russia. Officially the Russian Federation, a large former empire and erstwhile communist state in Eastern Europe and North Asia. Off you go, John.
Welcome to Russia, the tropical island paradise of your dreams. Home to the merry wallaby and the majestic tiger. I am delightful to be your guide, Ivan Ivanovich Ivanitsky, but please, do not defy yourself. I will not be doing the whole lecture in this ridiculous accent.
Marcus.
Oh, yes, I will.
Right, I now think that isn't true, but I wanted to buzz in so that John would score the point by forcing himself to keep that up for a really long time.
There's never been so much riding on a performance.
Russian history. Russia was invented in 1310 by Peter the Great as a way of stopping China bumping into Poland. Peter and Catherine earned the suffix the Great thanks to their excellent reviews on Tsar Advisor and Rate My Tsar. But sadly, reviewers were less kind to Catherine's son, Ivan the Terrible. Ivan lost points for animal cruelty. He once had an elephant executed for failing to bow to him.
Rufus.
I think Ivan the Terrible had an elephant executed for failing to bow to him.
You're right in thinking that. Yeah. Yes, the elephant, which had been sent from Persia to Moscow, was punished because it would not bend its knee to him. This is reported by Nikolai Mikhailovich Karamzin, a Russian poet, historian and critic, who also states that Ivan would cruelly punish the unfortunate courtiers who dared to play better than their sovereign at chess or cards. Stupid courtiers, basically. He's called Ivan the Terrible, the scourge of the steppe.
What?
The scourge. The scourge of the steppe.
H.
What? Oh, H. He was the scourge of steps.
Oh, is that not the same?
No, this is the... All right, sorry. No, this is the one step.
The naughty step.
Yeah. The vast Siberian naughty step.
The Russian peoples. Upon arriving in Moscow, why not enjoy a compulsory trip to the Hall of Russian Heroes, like Mr. Alexei Stakhanov, who once plowed an area of land the size of Luxembourg in a single day. Mr. Yuri Alyakhin, the Russian cosmonaut who became the first man to ride a horse in space. And Mrs. Fyodora Vasilyeva, who once gave birth to 69 children, 10 of whom were older than she was.
Marcus.
I think she might have given birth to 69 children, even though 10 of them were unlikely to be older than her.
But that's not possible.
Well, it is true, Marcus. Well done. And it's, this was the first wife of 18th century Russian peasant Fyodor Vasilyev had 27 pregnancies between 1725 and 1765, resulting in 16 pairs of twins, 7 sets of triplets, and 4 sets of quadruplets.
That would definitely get on the Daily Mail website.
Wildlife. While in Russia, be sure to clap your eyes around such wonders as the carnivorous trees of Vishnevolocek, which devour insects and small birds and have been known to go for squirrels. For that matter, watch out for the Russian squirrels, which have been known to chase and eat dogs, and for Russian postmen, who have also been known to chase and eat dogs.
Holly.
The squirrels.
You're right.
Yes.
In 2005, squirrels attacked and bit to death a stray dog that was barking at them in a park in the centre of Lazo, a village in southeastern Russia. Local witnesses reported that the black squirrels literally gutted the dog, taking pieces of their kill away with them.
Wasn't 69 hungry children in squirrel costumes, was it?
And locals speculated that this behaviour could have been caused by a severe shortage of pine cones in the forests.
Cuisine. Delight your stomach with typical Russian dishes such as reorganized weasel parts, yeast oblongs in a sauce of many bats, and chicken in a quandary. After the meal, there will be much hilarity and dancing, especially if the local postmen have enjoyed a good day's dog hunting. If you are invited to join in such a dance, it is very rude to refuse. Do bear in mind, Russian postmen all have guns.
Holly.
I reckon postmen have guns.
You're right, they do. In 2005, a decree was signed by the Russian Prime Minister to supply the staff of all organisations of federal postal services with military and civilian weaponry and bullets.
That seems very sensible.
It sounds totally safe.
I would just like to say how massively relieved I am that my inept postman does not have a gun. I tried to deliver this bullet, but you were out. On a little red card, and then I'd have to go down to an office which is shut and impossible to find to be shot in person. Once I've proved that I'm actually me, despite the fact I've got the thing they left at my house.
The best thing about it was the red card says, "Sorry, we missed you."
So, welcome to Russia. You will enjoy your stay, I hope, and insist. До свидания.
Hey.
Thank you, John. At the end of that round, John, you've also managed to smuggle only one truth past the rest of the panel, which is that there are tigers in Russia. Siberian or Amur tigers are the world's largest cats and live primarily in the birch forests of
When
eastern...
did you say that?
Right at the beginning. Right at the beginning, before you were properly listening.
I think it was when we were still trying to acclimatise to the accent.
And that means, John, you've scored 1 point. Next up is Rufus Hound. Your subject, Rufus, is hats. Shaped coverings for the head, typically worn for warmth, as fashion accessories, or as part of a uniform. Off you go, Rufus.
Hats! Do any of us really know for certain who invented the hat? Well, archaeologists have discovered that they don't either.
Marcus?
Yes, I think we don't know for sure who invented the hat.
Well, Rufus put that as a question. A question is neither true nor a lie.
Yeah.
It's just a question.
I was to make a note of that.
And then the answer he gave was that archaeologists have discovered that they don't know who invented the hat.
Well, that's true.
I think archaeologists don't know, and I don't think that's been their main... They mainly want
But
to
they
know...
haven't discovered that.
Yeah, no,
they haven't discovered that they didn't know.
Yeah.
That's still true, though, isn't it?
What?
That the archaeologists don't know who invented the hat.
They haven't discovered that they don't. That's not what they... we've discovered Troy. Oh, we've discovered this temple.
Yeah.
Oh, we've discovered that we don't know who invented
Yeah, but
the
you
hat.
don't know. You don't know whether one day on Time Team or something they were like, "So, who invented the hat?" And then someone went, "I actually don't know. Does anyone else know?" And they all looked around and went, "No, we don't know." And they went, "Oh, I guess we've just discovered we don't know who invented the hat."
Yeah. I mean, I see what you mean.
That was the afternoon drama here on BBC Four.
I did archaeology A-level, which makes me in some ways an archaeologist. And I've just discovered that we don't know who invented the hat.
Yes. This is a very...
Did you really do archaeology A-level?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Again, I don't want to be married to you.
I'm going to give you a point, Marcus. Was it you initially or
Yes,
Holly
it was.
initially?
I don't know, but I think I did most... I think I did the legwork on it. I'm happy to give it to you, but I just want the credit.
You've won the point, Marcus. Now here's the acceptance speech for the point in which you credit Holly.
I would like to thank everybody involved in making this point possible. Obviously, every time somebody gets a point like this, there's a huge team of people to enable it. But, I mean, chief amongst those, and I absolutely acknowledge the work that Rufus Hound put in to telling this truth and making it possible for me and me alone to stumble upon it.
It's terrible, terrible world show business. I think you've learnt a very important lesson there, Holly.
I don't want to marry Marcus either. That's the lesson.
Doesn't matter, I got the point, so...
So it's now between me and David. Brilliant.
To be honest, Holly, I question your wisdom in coming on a show like this looking for a husband.
Yeah, Holly, I don't question that.
Sorry about that, Rufus. You don't lose a point. I've conjured a point out of thin air. It's like quantitative easing.
In 1721, beaver felt hats from the American colonies suddenly became incredibly popular amongst female hat wearers. In fact, during the winters of the 1720s, women across the globe were desperate to get their beaver felt. So much so that the Hat Act of 1732 banned the export of beaver felt hats from the American colonies, which led to the American Revolution.
Marcus?
I think there was a ban on the export of beaver pelts.
There was. That Hat Act that Rufus referred to is entirely true. It prohibited the export of hats from any British colony in order to protect the hat industry in England from American competition. The Hat Act has been cited as one of the grievances that led to the American, called here the American Revolution, which is, of course, the American War of Independence, to give it its more old-fashioned name that I cling to, like AD and BC.
I think you're right to cling to it, and I, like you, don't believe it's over.
No.
I think it is only a matter of time before America recognises the folly of their ways and welcomes itself back into the UK. And we will have them.
Yeah.
Is it going to be as we lose Scotland, we get America?
Seems like a reasonable trade-off.
I mean, that would be a bloody brilliant deal, wouldn't it? I'd take that like a shot.
We lose McDonald's, but gain McDonald's. During the late 19th century, there was a craze for hats made from hummingbird skin. Did they sell? Oh, they literally flew off the shelves. Halcyon days for hat fans, but not for halcyons. But there are signs that the animal kingdom will suffer our hat-fueled genocides no longer. Yang Dekai of Hunan has been attacked so often by an angry owl that he protects himself by wearing a special hat that is fitted with nails protruding from it. It not only keeps away the owls, but with the addition of some cubes of cheese and pineapple, Yang remains the life, soul and buffet of any soiree.
John?
I'm just too delighted by the image of both him being attacked by the owl and the lengths he went to avoid it that I want to say that's true.
It is true. Yes, well done. Yes, the owl began targeting the 79-year-old Chinese man in March 2007. The owl sometimes cooperated with another owl who hooted in a tree as the other swooped down to attack. And Yang believed that the owls might be attacking him as revenge after he removed a nest containing 2 baby owls from his roof. Yes, I think they probably are. Suddenly, Yang doesn't seem so nice.
I rather like the idea that somewhere Harry Potter's going, why aren't these letters getting through to Yang?
Rufus.
Is it farewell to the fez, zijin to the mandarin, and bon voyage to the beret? In fact, don't bother with that last one. In the zoological hat war, the French have already, unsurprisingly, surrendered. There's only 2 beret factories left in France, and both of them are on strike.
Holly.
I reckon there are a very few beret factories in France.
You're right. In fact, there are only 2. Well done.
So, as we stand on the brim of hat obsolescence, I say millinery should be for every last person on Earth. Or in other words, hats all, folks.
Thank you, Rufus. And at the end of that round, you, Rufus, also only smuggled 1 truth past the rest of the panel, which is that during the late 19th century, there was a craze for hats made from hummingbird skin. London was the centre for the trade in exotic feathers during the plume boom of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. And one London dealer imported 40,000 hummingbird skins in one order. And that means, Rufus, you've scored 1 point.
Hooray!
Which brings us to the final scores. In 4th place, with -3 points, we have Rufus Hound. In 3rd place, with no points, it's Marcus Brigstock.
Oh, I'm delighted.
In 2nd place, with 4 points, it's Holly Walsh. And in 1st place, with an unassailable 6 points, is this week's winner, John Finnemore. That's about it for this week. Goodbye.
The Unbelievable Truth was devised by John Naismith and Graham Garden and featured David Mitchell in the chair with panellists John Finnemore, Holly Walsh, Rufus Hound and Marcus Brigstock. The chairman's script was written by Dan Gaster and Colin Swash and the producer was John Naismith. It was a random production of BBC Radio 4.
Hello and welcome to The Unbelievable Truth. Half an hour of lies, damn lies and statistics. Except for the statistics. In the spirit of the game, please welcome 4 of the finest comedians in history. Clive Anderson, Chris Addison, Lucy Porter and Graham Garden. Each of the panel will present a short lecture on a given subject that should be entirely made up, save for 5 pieces of true information which the panellist should attempt to smuggle past his opponents. Points are scored by truths which go unnoticed, while other panellists can win points if they spot a truth or lose points if they mistake a truth for a lie. We'll begin with Graham Garden. Graham, your subject is the country of China, officially the People's Republic of China, the world's most populous country and one of the oldest continuous civilizations. Fingers on buzzers, everyone else. Off you go, Graham.
China's huge population is thought to be due to the Chinese practice in ancient times of using the lining of a cat's stomach as a condom. This method was later refined when someone had the bright idea of removing the stomach from the cat first. But by then it was too late. When the Irish adventurer Mark O'Polo arrived in 15th century China, he was delighted to discover exotic items like mints with holes in them, garlic, football pools, spaghetti, even macaroni. In fact, it's widely believed he took the recipe for pasta back to Italy, where it immediately caught on.
Clive.
Pasta was brought back from China to Italy by Marco Polo. I'm confident that is the fact. So noodles and pasta are very similar, made out of the same sort of stuff.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
Among the many things we take for granted in our day-to-day life, it may be surprising to learn that it was the Chinese who invented Pop-Tarts, the lottery rollover, focus groups and perforations.
Chris?
I'm going with perforations. They invented paper, didn't they? You can perforate paper easily enough.
You certainly can.
Can't you, eh? It's a short step from paper to perforations, is what I'm saying.
We don't know that they invented perforation. I don't know whether perforation is actually Could you patent a perforation?
You can patent a perforating machine.
Yes, but not an actual perforation, because some perforations will occur naturally.
Are you finding the word perforation a bit odd now?
It's a lottery rollover they did. The lotteries, no.
No, the Chinese did not invent the lottery rollover any more than they invented the perforation. But unlike perforations, lottery rollovers cannot occur naturally. Great.
But had perforations been readily available in 1393 when toilet paper was first introduced for the use of the emperor, the individual...
Lucy.
Oh, come on.
What?
Perforations, they did introduce toilet paper.
Yes, they introduced toilet paper, and what Graham was going to go on to say is that the sheets that were introduced for the emperor in 1393 measured 2 feet by 3 feet.
How big was this emperor? Or,
It's either a very impractical sort of size for a piece of toilet paper or one of the largest arsed men who've ever lived.
Maybe he straddled it and ran along it.
Yes.
I mean, we've all done it.
Graham.
Another Chinese invention is the colour beige. It was previously known as Peak. The capital city takes its name from the beige dye makers of the area who specialise in dull, pale, brownish colours, popular with the cardigan makers of Shanghai. Of course, trade with the West is completely one way, as China accepts no foreign imports at all due to obvious reasons combined with unforeseen problems. For example, in China, the slogan, "Come alive with Pepsi," was misinterpreted as Pepsi brings your relatives back from the dead.
Lucy.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Yes, that is absolutely true. And indeed, when Coca-Cola was first imported to China, the sound the word Coca-Cola makes means, apparently in Chinese, means either bite the wax tadpole or female horse flattened with wax. Now, the fact that it could be either or is yet another sign, along with the vast alphabet, that this is a language that doesn't really work. It needs a major rethink, I'd say.
In all of China's vast population, there are only 17 surnames, the commonest of these being Robinson. China is the only country where you can get jet lag on foot. If you stepped across the border from China to Afghanistan, you would lose 3.5 hours. The Chinese people take great pride in the fact that the great...
Go on, then. Yeah. So, Afghanistan, 3.5 hours. Time.
You're absolutely right, yes.
obviously, you wouldn't get any sort of tiredness like you get from being on an aeroplane. That's an exaggeration. But it's because all of China is in one time zone, slightly
That's not what
bloody-minded.
jet lag means, though, is it? It simply means that your body clock is out of your circadian rhythms.
I'd say, do you know,
are out of whack with your immediate surroundings.
I would say,
I understand it.
I would say, Chris, that what jet lag means is a combination of the deracinating effect of the time zones changing and the fact of tiredness from travel.
It's that kind of talk that is why you're so successful with the ladies.
Yeah.
Just loads of women going, oh.
Can anyone else think of other synonyms for tiredness? Yeah, anyway.
The Chinese people take great pride in the fact that the Great Wall of China is the only man-made structure on Earth from which you can see the moon.
Thank you, Graham. And Graham, you managed to smuggle only one truth past the rest of the panel, and that is that in ancient Chinese culture, it was common for them to use the lining of a cat's stomach as a condom.
How big is a cat's stomach? Just to give me a rough idea.
Normal size?
Any tiger's stomachs in stock there? Mr. Condom Seller.
Mr. Condom Seller. It's not a surname that ever really caught on, that, is it?
They've only got 17 in China, apparently. That was not the most popular one, right?
Yeah, no, probably if you say condoms, then it sounds like the Chinese for battering a cow with wax. Or the wax that is your aunt's butterfly. Or maybe just Tizer. Anyway, that means, Graham, that you've scored 1 point. In ancient China, towns were often arranged in specific patterns so that if seen from the air, the whole community resembled an animal or a symbolic design. The city of Shen-Fu was built in the shape of a carp, and Wung-Chun was laid out in the shape of a fishing net. It's also seen in British cities. From the air, Middlesbrough looks like a giant turd. OK, we turn now to Chris Addison. Chris, your subject is the Postal Service, a system for the transmission of letters, packages and periodicals, both domestically and around the world. Off you go, Chris. Fingers on buzzers, the rest of you.
The Postal Service was invented in 1752 by Arthur Philately, who was short of money and bored of his stamp collection. The first fully functioning post office to open in England gets a prize. Post is traditionally not delivered on a Sunday because God doesn't like letters, as he finds them impersonal and no substitute for having a good old natter on the phone.
Graham.
Post is traditionally not delivered on Sundays.
I'm simply contextualising God's attitude towards this post.
I think I'm going to give Graham a point for that, because post is traditionally not delivered on a Sunday, and you did just sort of say that.
No, it's part of the same clause. There's not even any piece of punctuation between that and the word Sunday and the word because.
It doesn't make it part of the same clause, it makes it part of the same sentence.
No, it is part of the same clause. It isn't parenthetical in any way. It's not qualifying something that came before or after it. It is simply part. It is causally the same.
If you'd gone, the reason why post is traditionally not delivered on a Sunday is that God doesn't like letters, I think you'd totally have got away with it.
Yeah. This is like In Our Time with Melvin Bragg, isn't it?
Yes, I often use that to go to sleep to. Quite genuinely.
9 in the morning?
Yeah. No, you can do it on Listen Again.
Yeah. You telling me that people listen to In Our Time on Listen Again?
When you do press Listen Again for In Our Time, it does say, "Are you sure?"
Remember, you're listening to this in your own time. I tell you what I'll do. I'm going to go with my initial instinct. I'm going to give Graham the point.
Fine.
But don't feel bad about it, Chris, because I know there'll be a Daily Mail campaign against this.
Yes.
And you'd expect my suspension and a grovelling apology from the Director General any day now.
Oh, super.
You know.
OK. The reason post is not traditionally delivered on a Sunday is that God doesn't like letters, as he finds them impersonal, no substitute for having good old natter on the phone. Post, which does not carry the correct postage, is not delivered at all. Famously, Iraqi terrorist Kairan jets didn't pay enough postage on a letter bomb. It came back with "return to sender" stamped on it. Forgetting it was the bomb, he opened it and died in the resulting explosion. Postmen are a naturally nervous species, and when anxious they excrete small red rubber bands or postie casts. In 1974, the presidents of the Gabon and Equatorial Guinea had a bet that the latter would not put flying saucers on his country's stamps. The president of Gabon be all like, "You don't have the balls, guy, in it," and the president of Equatorial Guinea be all like, "Yo, don't step to me, man." He was as good as his word.
Lucy.
Yes, I think that was a delightful rendering of a presidential conversation. I think that's true.
In it.
So you think... Well, you think that conversation happened between
I think the bet happened.
No, the bet didn't happen. No. Carry on, Chris.
OK. He was as good as his word, and in 1975, Equatorial Guinea became the first country to depict flying saucers on its stamps.
Clive.
Yes, they were the first country to put flying saucers on their stamps.
That's absolutely right. Well done.
The Kingdom of Bhutan issued a stamp which was actually a small record which played the Bhutanese national anthem. In response, Pakistan once issued a stamp in the shape of a star. Tonga once issued a stamp in the shape of a banana, and Australia...
Graham.
Whatever Australia's going to do is right.
Australia, since you ask, issued a stamp in the shape of a boomerang. This latter was recalled when all letters featuring it inevitably came back to their sender.
Yes, no, I'm afraid, as you may have inferred from that, that's not true. Chris.
Postal rules were tightened up in the early 20th century. The US Postal Service declared it would no longer allow children to be sent by post, and legislation was introduced in Norway to prevent the steadily growing numbers of wooden postcards fashioned and written by lumberjacks in the north of the country.
Lucy.
I once got a wooden Valentine's card. I'm just showing off.
A wooden Valentine's?
But yeah, so I think that maybe somebody did make wooden postcards and they didn't like it.
No, they didn't.
No.
Sorry. But well done on the wooden Valentine's card.
Did you put out?
Graham.
No, I just wanted to make...
Yeah, I think...
Sorry, Lucy's still boasting about her admirer.
No, I just wanted to make clear that I didn't put out. It was.
You didn't put out?
No.
Was it?
Chris
Right.
was accusing me
Was it
of
on
being
fire? I'm
loose.
so sorry.
No, it's a term for having sexual intercourse. So
Oh, well, that would explain why I wouldn't know it. But you didn't.
Sorry, no.
So, right.
Clearing that up.
So it was essentially a waste of wood. Graham buzzed subsequently.
Did I? Oh, yes, yes. I think it was America who put an end to the appalling practice of posting children.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Well done. Thank you, Chris. So, Chris, you managed to smuggle 3 truths past the rest of the panel, which are that Iraqi terrorist K. Ranajet did genuinely not pay enough postage on a letter bomb that came back to him because it had return to sender stamped on it, and he forgot it was a bomb, opened it and died.
He didn't seem to recognise his own handwriting.
Yeah.
Maybe he'd sent off for something with tokens from the back of a cereal box. He was thinking, oh, at last, here comes my free bird watching, but kaboom!
He probably thought, here's that child I ordered.
Not all terrorists are also paedophiles.
Given that the whole thing went up in an explosion, how do we know any of this is true? The guy, just a guy,
you
just
might as
blew
well
up.
say that about the universe.
He might have just accidentally, had a gas leak there. It's a fantasy somebody's invented.
I was quite happy, and I thought it was quite a jolly story. Like putting a little
terrorism, death.
terrorism.
Yeah.
Well, I thought 4 stories of terrorism and death, and there are a lot of those around. It was one of the jollier ones.
I would easily make it into the lighter side of terrorism book.
Definitely. Anyway, as far as we know, it's true, but obviously it could just be someone putting a positive spin on a crater. The second truth you smuggled past the others is that the Kingdom of Bhutan issued a stamp which was actually a small record which played the Bhutanese national anthem. And the other truth was that Tonga once issued a stamp in the shape of a banana. But that means, Chris, that you've scored 3 points. Right, now it's the turn of Lucy Porter. According to her biog, Lucy has written for everybody who's anybody in the comedy world. Well, that's not true. She's never written for me. Oh, I see. Your subject, Lucy, is the moustache, the sprouting of facial hair commonly grown by men on their upper lips. Fingers on buzzers, the rest of you. Off you go, Lucy.
Well, obviously, I chose the subject of the moustache because I myself have a lavish upper lip growth, and I'm. Thanks for not buzzing. Excellent. I'm not the only woman to be proud of her lip warmer. The Ainu girls of Japan often added a tattooed moustache to their upper lip in the belief that it made them more attractive, and sure enough, it did to gay men. Although Lord Kitchener of Khartoum was known for his savagery in the Boer War, he was actually a very soft man who hid mint humbugs and cough drops in his luxuriant moustache for children to find. Okay. The Navajo Indian nickname for Hitler was Dagaili, meaning he smells his moustache.
Chris.
I think the Navajo Indian thing might actually be true.
That is absolutely true. That Hitler's nickname meant he smells his moustache. To a certain extent, all men with a moustache couldn't avoid smelling it, you know. You've got to hope your moustache doesn't have a very strong smell, or at least one you like. But
It would be
I
bad
don't
if you
think
didn't realise that was the smell that was annoying you. There's something around here. Wherever I go, I don't know what it is.
It's like everything smells of hair. I can't stand the smell of hair. I must kill millions of people.
They're all called hair in Germany, Mr. Hitler.
Hitler's moustache was naturally a light reddish blonde. He began dyeing it black on the advice of Unity Mitford, who warned him that if his invasion of Britain was successful, he would be ridiculed for being ginger as well as the whole one testicle thing. Many characters in great works of fiction have had facial hair in the original text that haven't made the leap to the cinema screen. In Bram Stoker's original Dracula, he had a moustache. Ian Fleming gave James Bond a goatee beard, and Jane Eyre had a unibrow.
Graham.
I think Dracula had a moustache in the original.
That's absolutely right. And he has only once been portrayed in a film with a moustache, though, and that was in his 1970s Spanish version of Dracula, but also played by Christopher Lee. That's a point to Graham. Carry on, please.
If you listen carefully to the 1972 London Philharmonic recording of Turandot, you can hear Luciano Pavarotti splutter slightly as he chokes on his false moustache. Conductor Zubin Mehta had to extricate the moustache with his baton. At least 2 other opera singers are known to have completely swallowed their false moustaches while singing. Of the various laws in America about facial hair, in Iowa it's illegal to wear a moustache on your wedding day. In Alabama it's illegal to wear a fake moustache that causes laughter in church. In Massachusetts it's illegal to grow a moustache before the age of 25.
Chris.
I'm going to go with the Alabama church one.
That's absolutely true. Well done. Okay. Thank you, Lucy. And you managed to smuggle 2 truths past the rest of the panel, which are that Ainu girls of Japan often added a tattooed moustache to their upper lip in the belief that it made them more attractive. Yeah. It was what they did in order to announce that they're ready for a husband by sort of trying to look like one. And the other one being that at least 2 opera singers are known to have completely swallowed their false moustaches while singing. So that means you've scored 2 points. And now it's the turn of Clive Anderson. When Clive hosted Clive Anderson All Talk on BBC One, the Bee Gees walked off the show, fed up at being ridiculed. It took 35 years, but they finally cracked. Your subject, Clive, is the Moon, the Earth's only natural satellite and the 5th largest satellite in the solar system. Off you go, Clive.
Yes, when the Apollo 12 astronauts landed on the Moon in 1969, the surface vibrated for very nearly an hour. How big is it? Well, if you imagine the Earth as being as big as your head, then the Moon would be the size of Oliver Reed's liver. Or to put it another way, if the Earth were the size of an orange, the Moon would be the size of a cherry. Or, if you prefer, if the Earth is a mug of tea, the Moon is a skinny cappuccino. In the 18th century...
Chris?
I think the orange-cherry comparison stands.
That's absolutely right. Well done.
Well spotted. In the 18th century, Erasmus Darwin, James Watt and Josiah Wedgwood were convinced the Moon was made of green cheese. The 3 of them were members of the Lunar Society and were known as lunatics. But of course, it was established in the 20th century by the writer David Niven that the Moon is in fact a balloon.
Chris?
Sorry, I think they were members of the Lunar Society.
They were members of the Lunar Society. Yeah. Well done. Yes, and they were also known... They were known as lunatics. They were a dining club who met during the full moon in Birmingham between 1765 and 1813.
For a curry. Just go down Silly Out, have a curry. The moon's out, it's lovely. You can eat outside, smell the bus fumes.
That's so like Erasmus Darwin.
Graham.
Well, David Niven did write a book called The Moon's a Balloon.
Yes.
Does that count as a fact?
Do you think he established the moon is in fact a balloon by saying that my book was going to be called The Moon is a Balloon? Do you think he did that? Do you think he did that? Do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Is this the lawyer in Clive coming? Is that what you used to do in court? Do you think he did that? Do you think he did that? Do you think he did that? While he did write a book called The Moon's a Balloon, he in no way asserted that the moon was one.
You're right.
So, sorry.
Well, he did. I mean, he wrote the sentence, the moon's a balloon, which is an assertion.
So if I write a book saying I'm the greatest person who ever existed, that establishes that as a fact.
I'm surprised you haven't already, Clive.
I'd say that is not asserting that the moon's a balloon at all, but saying I am taking a quotation from a poem to make the title of my book.
Fair enough.
Can't be said.
I withdraw.
Well, now, the moon may sometimes look round, but is in fact shaped like an egg. And NASA scientists were worried it might really be an egg, and the shell might crack if a rocket hit it too hard, spilling its yolk and white all over the night sky. Now, of course, this is extremely fanciful. Obviously, if the moon were an egg, it would have to be a chocolate egg to fit in with all the other chocolate confectionery in the heavens, such as the Milky Way, Galaxy, and Mars. It is because of the danger of melting that these objects only come out at night. Talking of which, the Americans never really wanted to land a man on the moon in the first place, but set about building a huge film set in the Nevada desert, inside which a moon landing could be faked. Nonetheless, nearly 1 in 10 Americans believe that we never really landed on the moon.
Lucy?
I believe that. Americans don't believe it.
Well, it's not nearly 1 in 10 that don't believe it. It's 27% of Americans don't believe it. So I'm afraid that's not true, what Clive said. But you're on the right lines with the Americans being idiots.
Well, they did go to the moon.
Yeah, but that was probably...
That was 3 of them.
Yeah, and they're unlikely to be among those that disbelieve in the moon.
It's easy to prove that we have landed on the moon because there are 3 golf balls there, all of them clearly visible to the naked eye if you happen to be standing on the Great Wall of China.
Chris?
There are 3 golf balls there.
Yes, there are 3 golf balls there. Well done.
Well done. The first use of the term mooning to mean exposing the buttocks, either as a joke or an insult, occurs in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. What orb through yonder window shines? It is Mercutio mooning his behind. At the time of the full moon, murder rates go up, as does the consumption of alcohol and the number of lottery tickets sold to women.
Lucy?
Yes. I feel murderous and I buy a lottery ticket.
No, actually, murder is actually the only crime that does not increase during the full moon. Alcohol consumption goes down, but the chance of being bitten by a dog are twice as high, according to a study at the Bradford Royal Infirmary. Thank you, Clive.
Thank you.
Clive, you managed to smuggle 2 truths past everyone else, and they are that when the Apollo 12 astronauts landed on the moon in 1969, the surface vibrated for very nearly an hour. Astronaut Pete Conrad is quoted on NASA's official site as saying, "The entire moon rang like a gong, vibrating and resonating for almost an hour after the impact. These vibrations have led geologists to theorize that the moon's surface is composed of fragile layers of rock." But essentially, it sounds like they landed on the moon and they nearly broke it. Can you imagine how pissed off everyone on Earth would have been? What have you done? Well, we went up, turns out it's like a poppadom.
Stuck the flag in and it just went...
Oh no, it's all in.
It was a balloon after all. David Niven was right.
And the other truth is that although the moon might sometimes look round, it is in fact shaped like an egg. Although, it's slightly egg-shaped, I reckon. Slightly elongated with the pointed end facing towards the Earth, so we wouldn't be able to tell, because it's like the egg pointing at us.
I was terrified delivering that particular fact, because the sentence says, although the moon might sometimes look round, I thought you'd all be buzzing and say, yes, that's true, it does sometimes look round.
Well, you were contextualising.
Yeah, it was your great advantage at that point that you couldn't buzz in.
But Chris has been buzzing in all evening on it.
You two can decide later which is the greater pedant. So, but that means...
I'm not so much a pedant, I sort of split hairs, but...
You are the Buzz Aldrin of this programme.
That's number 2.
No, come on.
One small joke for a man.
One giant edit for the editor.
But that means end of that round, Clive, you scored 2 points. Due to gravitational effects, we all weigh slightly less when the moon is directly overhead. In fact, at the height of the full moon, Victoria Beckham actually starts levitating. One unlikely moon-based fact that Clive overlooked is that there is a crater on the moon called Birmingham. And coincidentally, Birmingham is also the name of a large hole in the Midlands. Which brings us to the final scores. In third equal place, with -2 points each, we have Lucy Porter and Graham Garden. In second place with 3 points, it's Clive Anderson. And in first place with a massive, showy and frankly inappropriate 8 points, it's this week's winner, Chris Addison. That's about it for this week. All that remains is for me to thank our guests. They were all truly unbelievable, and that's the unbelievable truth. Goodbye.
The Unbelievable Truth was devised by John Naismith and Graham Garden and featured David Mitchell in the chair with panellists Lucy Porter, Chris Addison, Clive Anderson and Graham Garden. The chairman's script was written by Dan Gaster and the producer was John Naismith. It was a random production for BBC Radio 4.